Let me just hop inside of your Discord server and listen to you a bit. Hello. Hello.
No. I'm live with him right now.
What do you mean you're live with him?
What do you mean you're live with the Libertarian State Rep?
Yeah, I don't understand. What do you mean?
Well, he works. Yeah, I am. I represent the people of.
Oh, there you are. There are two voices sitting right there. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's just calling your stream boring. yeah. No. I'm sorry. It's just a little bit odd, but yeah.
Sorry, it's a little bit what?
The bus, but it's all good. I did appreciate your firearms display. That was very nice.
Yeah. What was the boring part in your point of view?
I don't know. It's just
What did you get to see?
Just kind of drawing on. There's not a lot going on, but I guess that's what a talk stream is. So
sometimes people take a little bit of time to think about things.
It's kind of like having a discussion in one's room. It's not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world, but it's
touch. It's okay. The idea is that people that are curious about what I'm talking about, and people I'm talking about them with, they can keep watching this space. I'm not going to be sitting here for too long.
Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, it was a little bit quiet.
We're going places, is what I'm getting at with this.
Well, yeah, me and Eddie are going places. We know that. Like, we're going to change the game up. Like, people who are at the top of the stream environment are not going to be there for very long. I don't say very long, not forever. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure that people like us band together and make it so we get there instead. Because I think we are more deserving than people who just were consistent at the start. Not from, like, our perspective where we worked for it harder. I think, personally. Well, I think that if you're offering a good discussion, a good stream, I guess, I think that the segments of the market that appreciate the stream that you're putting out will gravitate towards it.
Eventually, but marketing is it's an active effort too. You can't just expect people to show up at your doorstep. That's you got to make the path to your door very, very clear in order for them to show up.
It is true.
So you're state representative, Libertarian state representative. What's in a day for you? Yeah.
Oh, geez. Over the course of a week, I'm up in Concord. At least one day, if not two or three. Just kind of either going up to vote or going up to propose amendments to bills, testify in committee, lots of stuff like that. So.
How many years of age have you got now?
I am 21.
21. You're a young guy. You're a young cat.
May.
You're just a baby.
Well, yeah, just a baby.
Yeah, man. Do you shave? Do you shave as well, or do you keep facial hair?
What was that?
Do you shave or do you keep facial hair?
I shave every now and then, every couple weeks. I am kind of lazy about it.
Yeah.
But I definitely, I just keep a little bit. In the winter time, I tend to have it a little bit longer, so this is a little bit short for right now.
I see.
I shaved it off like 2 weeks ago, but normally I keep it a little bit longer in winter because it's cold as fuck here. So.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, it does get cold up there. I don't envy you guys.
I'm like, how do I say this? Bent on Twitch. I wouldn't put my name in your title unless you want to get called.
I don't give a shit. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm exercising my First Amendment rights. That's it.
Just saying.
I'm exercising my rights, man. That's it. I appreciate the fair warning, but nothing will happen. Nothing bad will come of this. Don't worry.
I mean, you took a bath basically with your.
I did take a bath.
On Twitch stream. So
I did take a bath. I was completely nude in the bath, and I'm back. Within less than 24 hours, I peeled it.
Hardcore, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You're really pushing Twitch's limits. I didn't think you'd ever be that guy to do that, bro.
Dude.
Yeah.
Come on, I got the assets. People like my body. I'm gonna show it sometimes. Shit.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah. If you got it, flaunt it. If you don't, then try to work for it. Yep.
Indeedy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect people to give that to you, right? So, 21 years old, state representative. I never caught your name. Is that something you want out in the area? I mean, it's easy to find you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious. I'm one of a small group of elected state-level office holders.
Exactly.
It would be pretty easy to find who I am, but Caleb Dyer. So
Caleb Dyer.
Caleb
Dyer.
All right. How long have you?
Google the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm Yeti Eater. YETIEATER. Similarly, please Google the shit out of me. We'll see which one of us has more Google hits. Let's see which one's got more Google hits, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This trend line's going.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm curious. So again, if you don't mind, your name, spell it out for me one more time.
Yeah, no problem. CALEB
Uh-huh.
DYER. Caleb Dyer.
Dyer. All right, you got a website, CalebDyer.com, and my computer's a piece of shit. So if you hear me cursing,
actually, so my website has my middle initial in it. It's CALEB
Q. Yes, you have a Ballotpedia article. Oh goodness, I can't touch you. 589,000 results. Jesus, you are truly public, my friend. You are a truly public individual.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing that happens when you get elected to
No doubt.
a position.
No doubt.
But,
Dude, that's great.
I've never searched his name before, but that sounds like that's what I want to do right now.
Oh, Stoneham,
You
Massachusetts.
want to search my name?
Yeah,
I never get gratification. Yeah, no, I used to have long as fuck hair. Yeah.
21, May 5th, 96.
Yeah.
Look at this
indeed.
boy. Man, now he's a man.
Is there any nudes in here?
I wish. That would be amazing.
Oh my god, student office, born. Yeah, your birthday's out there too and everything. Fuck that, I don't want my birthday out there.
Sorry, God.
Salary, $100 a year. How do you feel living on $100 a year? I'm kidding, I know you got.
Oh, see, I don't live on 100.
I know, I'm playing.
I have, enough money from whatever I do for work in the meantime. Right now, I'm getting back into graphic design. I actually had been out of that for a while. It still says on my website, I think, that I am a graphic designer. For a long as fucking time, that wasn't true.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got fired from the place I was working for down in Salem. I was slightly insubordinate.
They're lost, dude. I'm much the same way, insubordinate, and called out many times. But look, House Environment and Agriculture
I guess one
Committee.
might say I'm a bad slave.
Don't be a slave. Fuck being a slave. We're free men in a free country. Also, former Boy Scout. How far did you make it?
2-star. I didn't end up doing all the merit badges for life and Eagle. I just didn't have time.
Yeah, I made first class, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are.
Hey
USA,
man, listen, Boy Scouts is an excellent organization. I just wish they weren't so goddamn religious.
Yes.
But
do my duty for God and my country, and obey the Scout law.
yeah.
Know it.
Oh my god.
We be los. So do you stay prepared?
I stay as prepared as I can.
Oh, I mean, what do you mean? There are limitations on your freedom that don't permit you to stay as prepared as you'd like to be prepared?
I'm prepared within limits. I got my bug out bags and shit, but I'm not banking on the end of the world anytime soon.
No, me neither. Society's fairly stable, but people on Twitter think they're rocking the boat when they're just regurgitating the same old.
No, you're not doing shit unless you're owning shit you shouldn't be owning according to the state, or disobeying in some way. So.
Indeed. I'm just talking most recently about these young people. I don't know if Deffy's brought you up to speed, but I've been doing some broadcasts about mass shootings in this country, and a solution I have to put an end to them.
Yeah, I think that there is a very easy way to put an end to most of the shootings in the country. Basically, just make it easier for people to own firearms. Because I think an armed society is a polite society.
Indeed.
I see it all the time in my everyday life. Like, half the people at the fucking state house carry. So I mean, it's like, if we protect ourselves with guns, everyone else should be able to protect themselves with whatever the hell they want. I mean, New Hampshire doesn't have any knife laws. We don't have any firearm registration laws or licensing laws. We actually just repealed the concealed carry licensing up here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's this mean? You any citizen?
Yeah. Except for felons, because of course they're still prohibited persons under the law. But once a felon has served their sentence, theoretically they can get their rights back, but the feds would have to enforce that law because there's no state provision.
Wait, so there's an appeals process. There's an appeals process for felons, really?
Yeah, well, so it's the same way with voting in the state of New Hampshire. So with regards to voting and just about any other constitutional right, the state grants you that right back or under due process. So if you're familiar with what due process is, it's a legal concept. Once you've served your sentence, effectively you are recognized in having those rights again. However, the federal government doesn't recognize your right if you're a convicted felon, even if you've served your sentence. So it's kind of like a weird quirk between federal and state law. Like Alaska is currently, I think, the only state that explicitly has a law that allows felons to own guns. And it's actually because it's a necessity. If you live up in like bumfuck nowhere, Alaska, you need a forage gun. Like,
sure.
It's just, if you get attacked by a bear, you're fucked. So
yeah.
You know,
I mean, just shout at it; it'll probably go away
yeah,
if you express your fear.
There are exceptions to every rule, but that's the most blaring one.
Gotcha. So, just realistically, with all of the pundits, the armchair pundits coming in on the firearms debate, gun control issues in this country, the ones calling for the only effective means of ending mass shootings in this country being the disarmament of the peoples, what do you have to say to them?
It's a bad idea. Members. So I'm third generation in the United States. My grandfather was the first person on my father's side to come over here, and the reason why they came was because the family was persecuted where they were living for religious reasons.
Sorry, your family is from where again?
So my grandfather is originally from Austria.
Austria.
In 1935-36, there was a lot of talk about annexation of Austria by Germany, and then they marched in, and in 38 they eventually took Austria. And the Nazis were popular because of their reforms, but they didn't care for Jews very much.
No, yeah, they kind of hated them.
Yeah, in 37, my grandfather and his wife got out of Austria, went right across the border to Switzerland, eventually to England, and then to the United States. But my family's been living in the United States, actually in Everett, Massachusetts, at the same address since 1939. So right when war eventually did break out.
Gotcha.
So they really, not to say that they're gun crazy, but they understand the value of being armed.
Yeah.
And, they instilled that, or my father instilled that on me, because it's like, when you have family members who have lost their lives because they thought, it can't happen here. It always can happen here. It really just always can. And people just forget that. So I always want to remind people that, it could be right around the corner. So, but anyhow, that's kind of like my short guns stump speech. It's like the rights of the living should never be trumped by sympathy for the dead. Because,
I'm with you.
You can be sad all you want about someone being, killed or someone having passed away. But if you're not doing anything to prevent yourself from being, violently assaulted or killed in the future, then, you're not doing really anything very productive. So I always advocate, arming oneself as the response to a mass shooting as opposed to, disarming or advocating the forceful disarmament of others.
Caleb. It's okay if I call you Caleb?
Yeah, go ahead.
This article I've been working on, I mean for it to be published on a public platform. I'm thinking Medium. One of my goals is to be able to become a public intellectual, because I recognize that the quality of discourse in this country is slipped. It's not what it once was. I think it's because of sound bites. It's awful. People who've moved early on platforms and social media and have they've established a position, they get lazy, as Deffy's probably talked with you about. And a lot of them have nothing useful to bring to the table, yet they don't focus their energy instead on promoting the voices of those with reason. Instead, they just want to shit out the first thing that they can, just so that they can say, me too. Look, I responded. Case in point, the other day I was looking at Facebook. I log into Facebook from time to time, one of the many feeds I check, and there was this trending thing about Samuel L. Jackson having made this tweet in response to Trump's calling for arming of teachers. And Sam L was saying, like, he played his character from so many of his films. Motherfucker, you know? He had fuck all to say. Fuck all to say about this thing, but he just felt the need to express himself, which is fine, it's within his rights. I was just disappointed, because I really respect the man as an actor, but good God. I mean, I understand that it goes against his financial best interests to say, well, you know, we should do this and this and this. He doesn't know which side to pick necessarily because he's probably busy doing other shit or just enjoying the good life of being an A-list celebrity. I don't know which one it is. I don't know what it's like to be Sam L for a day. I'd love to talk to him someday and ask him, like, so what was the rationality behind it? Like, you know, why did he do this? I think people might be interested in knowing this. So, it's just bad. It's just bad. There's so many brilliant men and women out there in this country who have wonderful things to say, right? Who are voices of reason, but they're getting drowned out by a very vocal minority.
Well, actually, I don't know. I think that there's a fair section of society that I guess has the pull, so to speak, in what one might call the mainstream media, and they pitch, although the owners of that, you know, entity, the companies within the mainstream media might be a minority of people, they are driving the conversation for the majority. Like,
of course,
I think that's what you're trying to get at.
Of course.
I think that, you know, the internet has been a great tool in sort of allowing for the dissemination of information. We see public intellectuals like you aspire to be, like Dave Rubin. You know, you may not agree with Dave Rubin all the time, but you can at least recognize that he has the balls to have people on his program who, you know, don't necessarily have the most popular opinions in the world. You know, he's had Jordan Peterson, who's roundly criticized.
Of course.
He's had,
Of course.
Yeah, you know, he's had all kinds of folks. What's that fellow who, the professor, what the hell is his name? The other guy up in Oregon who was like, I forget his name. Anyhow, but he had several good guests in a row that I really, I thought it was good that he had them on for sake of discussion. And, you know, it's people like that will never be on, you know, mainstream news, or if they are, they're only on there to be ridiculed or mocked.
Yeah.
And it's really obviously biased. It's obviously one-sided.
Sure.
And it's discouraging, but I think that what you are kind of doing here, not just yourself, but the whole community of people on the internet that are trying to disseminate other opinions, it's a valuable service.
This is what we have to do. It's a democracy. All right, I recognize that there's no value in me just being a spectator, simply commenting on Reddit. Much as I love Reddit, Reddit's a great platform. I'm wearing this Reddit tank that somebody gave me for a Reddit gift exchange some years back. It's just disappointing. It's really disappointing. Now you're talking about the news media being owned by this really small number of players.
Yeah, I mean it's relatively consolidated. It's kind of like the banks. Like a couple decades ago, there used to be, you know, dozens of banks in the United States, major banks, banking institutions with gross values of, you know, more than several $100 billion. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the same way with news media, there used to be many more local TV stations, local production stations. Nowadays, it's much more centralized. It's much more centrally controlled. So, you know, you see a lot more Fox-affiliated stations, a lot more CNN-affiliated stations, and you see a lot less of local TV news coverage or, you know, just local anything. Even local papers are dying. You know?
Oh, yeah, they've been dying out.
local papers have been dying for decades,
Oh,
but now they're really on their way out. If you're still an independent local paper today, I don't know how you're going to stay in business for another 5 years unless you moved everything online.
I mean, they've been making that push. They've definitely been making that push. Advertising online is one viable means of keeping the funds coming in. And really the key here is that given the capitalist nature of economy, we as citizens at the very least should be voting with our dollars. Right?
Oh yeah, no.
At the
voting
very
with
least.
your wallet is so very important, and it's interesting. I hear you mention the word capitalism. I would not consider myself a capitalist.
Why is that?
And for the reason that I see these what you might call cronyist or traditional capitalist systems, whereby I watch power, economic power, economic power and economic energy. I see it becoming increasingly more centralized. And I think part of the libertarian ethic is to actually see the decentralization of power over time, not the centralization.
Yep.
So I would not call myself a capitalist. I would tend to use the word voluntarist, because I think that by voluntarily contributing to a business, to an agorist in your area, is far more powerful than any vote you can cast, than any money that you ever spend at McDonald's or every website click you have on CNN.
Yes.
Every time you vote with your wallet in that way, it's such a powerful act.
It should be meaningful consumption. Like, we should be thoughtful about our consumption as opposed to just funneling our dollars towards whatever ad spot.
Or whatever's cheapest. Like,
yes,
we shouldn't be thinking about whatever's just cheapest. We should be thinking about whatever is the best product for the money.
What do you think's the disconnect here? I mean, it seems a lot of people, rational individuals, would look at this situation and say, all right, I do need to vote with my wallet, but why is it that we just keep moving towards mediocrity in the marketplace? Like, we have Walmart now with all of these products that are being imported from China, people shitting all over China without knowing shit about China, and then at the same time, this call for American manufacturing, when the same people that could have kept American manufacturing alive kept buying all the made in China stuff. Like, where's the disconnect?
Yeah, well, again, it's one of those things, and now you see these same people saying, oh, well, when we lost the jobs, we need to bring them back, and now they're supporting tariffs. They're supporting more taxation to make, consumer good prices, just inflate more. It's so asinine. It really is.
Yes.
It's just hard to comprehend. But there's nothing that once an occupation, once an individual job, so to speak, an employment opportunity leaves an area, it's never going to come back unless it's somehow cheaper to operate in the United States than elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to be able to compete with China on labor costs. The United States has so many labor laws on the books. Of course, we have compulsory collective bargaining still in effect in the United States. China has, actually, it's interesting. China has compulsive collective bargaining as well, but everyone has to join this, basically the same employees union, service employees union. So they have relatively limited bargaining power against that. So even though there's compulsory unionism in China, the worker doesn't really have a lot of power because it's kind of the Chinese government just saying, well, you're going to work fucking here, and you're not going to have much of a choice in it. So, quality of work is usually lower in China as a result of that. So, I don't know what the solution is to the trend towards mediocrity. I think that people just need to stop the drugs. People just need to stop.
Okay.
No, people need to, of course, be more conscientious about what they buy. But more importantly than that,
Yes, Daddy.
they need to. What the fuck was that? Eleanor B, whoever you are. That was weird. But anyhow, they need to move more towards not considering the cheapest option as the best option. Because I think Americans look for
Is literally my life.
I think that people need to not always just go for the cheapest option. I think that
Sure.
a lot of times people just go for the cheapest option, which creates that drive for the price down, and it also drives quality down. And I think we see that in media. I think we see that in just about every market that exists.
Interesting thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, there's some serious truth in the saying, "You get what you pay for." So
Indeed.
if you're not paying anything for the media that you're consuming, if they're relying on advertisements and the commercialization of media, then you're not really going to get a good, wholesome discussion from anyone you're not paying. It's just not going to happen.
Gotta get paid.
But anyhow, so I hear you live down in good old Texas,
I
even the
do.
heart of Texas.
Oh, not so much that. I mean, I'm an oil and gas capital of the world. I think although it is shifting over to the Middle East. I'm in Houston, Texas. In fact, I live in the energy corridor.
There you go. Oh, I'm gonna be down in Houston in mid-April.
Mid-April.
We should meet up. You should come to the
Awesome stream.
yeah. You should come down to the Libertarian Party at Texas Convention. It's in Houston, so
Whereabouts is that held? Is that a convention center?
I think it's at some hotel or something.
I'll have to look it up.
I'm speaking at it, so
Excellent.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have to exchange contact information so I can get a hold of you and also slide into the DMs.
I'll type it in your chat if that's cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, all
cool.
of it's fucking public anyhow. So.
Yeah, come and plug it. Or wait, you don't need to plug anything. Do your work.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily want all your fucking stream watchers to like call me, but you know, I mean, they fucking could if they wanted to. They could just go on my website, find out my phone number, and just be like, "Hey, Caleb, what's going on?"
I just had an individual comment in chat. Go back to being a peasant.
Go back to being a peasant.
People are very quick to stereotype based off of my appearance. I think it's a terrible thing. I'm disappointed often by the quality of person I interact with on this platform. But it's just it's the race reality. Oh.
Not you, Doug. Oh, he's the guy not being a peasant. He said, "Not you, dog."
Yeah. I know, Tapa's cool actually. I've seen his name appear in chat before. The 4-letter Twitch handles. I should know better.
Caleb is smart.
Caleb is smart.
Caleb is smart.
Thank you very much, Jazz Time Music. I try to be not dumb. Try to be not dumb. It's
But who's smarter? I don't know the answer to that. Yeah, so you guys gonna meet up now? Like, is that gonna happen?
Fuck, you know. I mean, I'll be in Texas. So I mean, if I won't have a car down there, but you know, I'll be at that convention. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it. Really, I mean, it's my town. You know, if there's a libertarian convention coming up, it probably would be worth my while to attend. It'd be a lot more up my alley than, say, Tea Party.
It's interesting. There's going to be myself. One of my colleagues in the New Hampshire House is also coming down, Representative Finney. He's also a libertarian. He's definitely more of a right-leaning libertarian, whereas I would consider myself, you know, far more radical. You know, I'm like, I don't believe in borders, so to speak. You know, so, like, I believe in private property, but I do not believe in national borders. I don't believe in public property. So we do have some differences between us, but
My Discord is breaking for no reason. Cries.
But yeah, there are a number of debates and points of contention in the libertarian community on things like that. I'm sure you're aware. So.
No, in fact, I'm quite unaware. I just the only reason why I would identify with libertarianism at all, I'm looking now at your personal life thing too. Elizabeth, Erica, Dyer, Nate, Swenson, and thinking of Ron Swanson.
that comment on your stream is hilarious. Caleb works for Congress. I don't like those Congress people. See, I don't work for Congress, so there is a distinction. I'm in the New Hampshire House of Representatives. I only get paid $100 a year. I'm not a total human piece of shit. like most Congress critters. But thank you for for expressing your distaste with the present Congress.
Where do you plan to go now? I mean, it's, let's see, political party, Libertarian 2017 to present, other political affiliations. You were formerly with the Republicans 2015 to 2017.
Eleanor B., I'm trying to listen to this man talk, and you just fuck with it.
Don't make me disable your
Might be
You're
worthwhile
gonna have
to
to
kill the
repeat
sounds.
that because
I'm looking at your career so far, right? Just based off the Wikipedia page, you assumed office December 7th, 2016. Previously, you were aligned with the Republicans 2015 to 2017, and now Libertarians 2017 to present. Where are you headed next?
I don't think my political involvement will be very public much longer. If I win re-election, I'll keep going with it because I'm going to run for state rep again.
I see.
But I'm not like heavily invested in politics.
Gotcha.
Politics is just kind of, I guess you could call it a side job, but it's a little bit more active than your conventional side job. Because you do have to devote, 1 day, 2 days a week to it. For 6 months out of the year at least. So politically, if I run for anything else, I might run for state senate, but I'd never run for a federal office. I just have no interest in that. I don't really like politics, to be perfectly honest with you. So.
Gotcha. So you're not trying to go deeper with it?
Oh, not really, no.
No.
And the only reason why I run for state senate, believe it or not, is because it also pays $100 a year. So, I'm not looking to make like a shitload of money. Like, I'm putting up $800 to run for re-election. I think my fundraising goal is like $3,200. So like $4,000 or something, all in said and done to run for re-election. It's not a very high goal. $100,000 a year. You're hilarious. No, I get paid $100 a year for 2 years. Jeff's show, yeah.
Yeah. How much in comparison do members of Congress make?
Oh, they're like 100 times that. So yeah, they get paid like 100,000 roughly, and then of course they get their benefits and shit, and they also have like $100,000 to spend for congressional offices every year. So
I see. So, well then, outside of being a public figure, then what does this being a member of the New Hampshire House of Representatives in your position? What's it do? Like, what does it allow you to do as an individual?
I mean, I have a vote. I represent my constituents.
Yes.
Just like the members of Congress, except I do it at the state level.
Okay.
We have to do work on bills, just like at the federal level. Except most of our bills are significantly shorter because we actually have to fucking read them.
You don't have a secretary to do that for you?
No, we don't have any staff. None of us do, except for the majority and the minority. The majority and minority offices have staff that they can, hire and whatnot. Because of course the traditional parties, the Republicans and Democrats, have quite a bit of money to spend on that shit. So
of course, they're the big players, the big two.
You represent like 10 people.
What's the reality of that?
No, I actually. Per capita, every state representative represents roughly 3,300 people.
3,300 people. That's pretty cool. I wish I could speak for 3,300 people. And instead, I only speak for myself.
In my particular district, we have 11 seats in my district, so that means my district is roughly, by registered voter count, roughly 33,000 people. So I technically represent more than that, but, specifically, every seat represents 3,300 people.
Caleb, I have this troll who likes to come by and assert that the firearm I'm holding onto is an airsoft gun. Now, you know firearms.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely not an airsoft gun.
Could you tell the good people of Twitch, the less informed amongst us, or just the trolls, how one distinguishes between a real firearm and, say, an airsoft gun? Say say we painted the tip of an airsoft gun's barrel black.
Yeah, how would you tell? I mean, you can generally tell by the lack of ejector port, like on fucking airsoft guns. It's always just like fucking shut. You know, there's no casing ejection point. It's generally pretty fucking obvious. That, and you can just take out the mag like you've just done.
Yeah. I mean, the mag, people are always asking to look at the mag. I'm wondering what their fascination with it is.
I mean, you can check the mag and just see it. It's pretty obvious. It takes fucking bullets. I mean, like.
I mean, I'm not sure what they're looking for with these things. Is it lettering that's going to make a difference? Like, I don't know. I find that trolls are very funny people.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man.
Do you get trolls in the House of Representatives too? Is that a thing?
Yes, Daddy. that was pretty great. That is the answer. Yes, Daddy. Yes, there are trolls in the New Hampshire House of Representatives.
Oh no.
Yep, they exist. In fact, it's kind of funny. This year or this past session, we've had more state representatives get arrested than I think in any other previous session of the legislature. So
wow.
Yeah, we have a very, very interesting dynamic politically here in New Hampshire.
Gotcha. Now, I'm not aware of too much, in New Hampshire. It's been a while since I've looked at state law, how it deviates from national law. But what are you guys like when it comes to drugs?
It's pretty bad here, actually. The state law concerning drugs is stayed pretty conservative.
Mm-hmm.
We just recently decriminalized cannabis.
Okay.
We became the last state in New England to decriminalize.
Last.
And even then, it's not even a full ounce of cannabis. They actually, in the Senate, they amended the bill down to 3/4 of an ounce, which is a big pain in the ass. But, we're always trying to strike the root, try to liberalize drug laws here a little bit. It's always a fucking hard road, though.
So if you could push any stance on drugs on the national level, what do you go with?
Ideally, I would deschedule just about everything.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I hate the existence of the Food and Drug Administration. I hate all the pharmaceutical regulations. I think they keep very helpful drugs from a lot of people. And I'm speaking about drugs in general. I'm not just talking about recreational drugs. I think that, you have a right to put whatever you want in your body. And I don't believe that there are any exceptions to that. I don't think you should have to ask permission. Right. I just, I think people should be responsible for the choices that they make. And that's a hard, fast belief. So, at the federal level, I would deschedule just about everything. I would make possession of everything. At the very least, possession and use would be non-criminal. If anything, a civil infraction. The hell. Essentially, what a civil infraction for cannabis would be, or like the current law in New Hampshire and most other states. It's basically a tax. It's basically a usage tax, and they fucking rob you. So, I mean, yeah, it's a non-ideal situation, but it's certainly better than what we have right now.
Sure.
In the state of New Hampshire, I put in a defelonization bill that would have defelonized the possession and use of heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, psilocybin, and LSD. So I did not spare anything in that bill.
No.
And of course, the Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee shot it down unanimously. Actually, was it maybe John Byrd? I think I got a Republican to vote in favor of that.
Interesting.
But I didn't get any Democrats.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. In your mind's eye, what are the real hot topic issues now in America? talk
Well,
about anything other than mass
shootings. What are the hot
shootings.
topic issues, or what should the hot topic issues be?
Oh, okay. In fact,
Because
that's a much more interesting question.
The
What?
answers there. I mean,
Oh, indeed. I want your opinion. What should they be?
well, what should the hot topics be? I
Yes.
think fiscal responsibility. I mean, the deficit is continuing to increase each time the Congress passes a budget. You know, they're not doing a damn thing to reduce spending. They're not doing a damn thing. You know, I would even not have so much of a problem with it if, like, you had Bernie Sanders in the Congress, which he's still in the Senate now, so he has less budgetary power. But I wouldn't even care if the honest solution that they proposed was we're just going to raise a bunch of taxes. Even though I don't like that solution, at least it addresses the problem.
I mean, it's quite unpopular. Raising taxes is always unpopular.
What was that?
Raising taxes is always unpopular. People like to keep more money at home. I can't blame them.
Yeah, I absolutely don't like raising taxes myself. I run with a party with a platform that, basically think the taxation is theft. I agree with that position.
I see.
But I can still at least recognize the honesty of having a position saying, listen, we're spending all this money. We have to raise it somehow. We're going to levy XYZ tax. And of course, if people vote for those representatives and want that kind of level of taxation, go for it, I guess. But I don't think that that's a wise decision. I think that it's perhaps best to just reduce expenditures.
So reducing expenditures, where's the real fat to be trimmed here?
For starters, the Department of Defense needs a lot of reductions.
Sorry, my computer is freaking out. Let me do something about this. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose you.
Stop. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, jeez, Jesus. Is this one of you trolls? Please, if it's one of you trolls, No, that's actually just my computer, dude.
Department.
Sorry, I'm having some trouble with my technological. This is why I need a new laptop. I mean, conversation this serious, getting interrupted because my machine's a steaming pile of shit. It's completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. I didn't expect to have this conversation today. Kai, can you hear me okay? I don't think they can hear me. Wow, we're in for some chop. We're in for some chop, boys.
Jeff Show in the comments, please allocate taxes to the right resource. I'm sorry, I don't think the government really knows how to allocate tax monies very appropriately. I think they do.
Fuck. That's all I can say is, hello? Hello? Are you able to authenticating RTC connecting?
One might say, but I am still a state rep. I make ends meet, though.
Guys, I'm awfully sorry, but I lost most of that. My computer freaked the fuck out, and Caleb, I really want to get your position on this. You said DOD, and then it just started freaking out. I'm really sorry to have you repeat this.
No, it's all good. I've tried to repeat it a couple times now, but so Department of Defense needs drastic reductions in expenditures. Department of Health and Human Services, there are a number of departments within the Department of Health and Human Services that really should be cut. I'm not one of those people that's like, let's just fucking cut food stamps immediately. Like, there are plenty of other larger welfare programs out there, like Department of Health and Human Services, but under them they have the Housing Authority. The Housing Authority in the United States is like massively over budgeted. I think that if you're going to do anything like that, you should be, I guess, subsidizing private rents, which even still is like fucking insane. But there are plenty of other private solutions that you could have to any number of these issues if you're going to go the government route. Of course, none of those are ideal, but there are definitely ways to move those powers to the states and take them out of the hands of the federal government, at the very least. So.
Excellent. What about armed conflict? Anything to say on armed conflict that our country is presently engaged in?
Well, like I just said, reducing the budget of the Department of Defense would do a lot to reduce armed conflict around the world. The instigators of most conflict is in fact the United States.
Indeed, it's not.
Or indirectly, it's either the United States, China, Russia, some major power, sometimes the EU.
Proxy wars.
Yeah, it's all proxy wars. It has been since the 50s, 40s. Except for the Chinese Revolution and all that shit. But every war, basically since the 50s, has been a proxy conflict. If you reduce the funding on one side of that conflict, you reduce one side's ability to finance that conflict.
Indeed.
So I think that's a big, part of that puzzle is reducing the money, cutting off the funds. So
Yeah. That's usually the head of it, isn't it?
Yep. Usually, if you can follow the money, you can get a pretty good handle on the situation. Again, another issue that really should be much more popular at the federal level, addressing the Federal Reserve Bank. They inflate the money supply basically at will. It robs people directly. When the Federal Reserve orders the printing of more money, inflating the money supply, everyone who holds dollars becomes somewhat poorer. So, all of these things definitely very important to be addressed at the federal level. But again, I will never run for a federal office. I just have no interest. So, I think federal politics are totally fucking lost cause. Focus on your own state, focus on your own home.
Yes.
That shit. So.
Spend more time focused on our communities as opposed to what the president is doing.
Yep, don't give two shits what Trump has to say about anything.
Indeed. Thank you. So, do you take the opinion that Trump is a bit of a clown?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably a somewhat intelligent guy. I mean,
I agree.
I actually got the chance to meet him in Manchester a couple of years ago. He was not very impressive. He struck me as kind of a spoiled brat, I guess you could say.
Spoiled brat, you say?
Yeah, that's the nicest thing I can say about him. So, I try to see the good in people, but I just don't have a lot of confidence in him as a person.
I see. It's good. Thank you for your frank opinion.
Yeah.
It's good to know I'm not alone.
Yeah, but policy-wise, I mean, Trump has been fucking outrageous. Like, I mean, especially the comment the other day with, like, fuck due process. Oh my god. Literally, government has no business existing if it doesn't even respect, its own fucking rules. So, I don't know. But, it's actually, I should have just ended that sentence with, government has no business existing, but...
Why do we need government? Indeed.
I know. Why can't we just govern ourselves?
I mean, there is the tragedy of the commons.
That
is
old
a problem.
That old Doug Stanhope line. It's like, what the hell is it? He's like, I don't want to vote. What if I don't want to be ruled? Where does that vote go? It's
That's a great question, really.
Yeah.
It's a great question. I think you need to jump ship if that's the case. You just need to jump ship and land yourself in international waters.
Yeah, right. No governments.
Yeah, I don't know what else you would do, really. If you just wanted complete freedom from tyranny of all types. Just
Move to New Hampshire. No, I'm just kidding. New Hampshire's much better though. It's a nice place.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go up to New England a number of times. I was considering boarding school. And at the time that I was looking at boarding school, my parents were looking solely into the G7.
Yeah, I think the volume cut out.
Oh, I said I had the opportunity to go up to New England a number of times.
Oh yeah, I heard that. I didn't know if you had just stopped speaking.
That was it.
Yeah, but
That
anyhow,
was it?
yeah, no. So whereabouts in New England did you go to? Like Vermont, Mass, New Hampshire, Maine?
I'm not sure if I've gone all the way up to Maine. I have this map, this travel map, places I've been, and I intend to put it on my Twitch info panels just to share with people. Like, hey, I've been places. You've been outside of the country yourself?
Oh yeah, I've been out to Canada. I've been to Europe.
Europe.
A couple times. But,
Whereabouts in Europe? Amsterdam by chance?
no, never to Amsterdam. I've been to England and France.
Oh, England and France. I've been to both as well. What did you do over there? What took you?
Just tourism. I guess you could call it general tourism, but I went specifically to France to visit a friend. So, who lives outside of Paris in what the hell's the name of the town? He goes to Lycée Les Pierre-Vives. So, yeah. I know the high school he goes to or went to.
Ah, I see. You like France?
Yeah. My first language is actually French. So.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I grew up in a French household.
And you guys spoke it growing up?
What was that?
You spoke French growing up then?
Yep, indeed. I learned English a little bit later, but basically at the same time, so no accent.
Tu parles des autres langues?
Les autres mains? What?
Langue.
The others? What?
Des autres langues. Besides French, you speak other languages?
Les autres langues? Oh, no, I don't speak. So I speak a little bit of German.
Oh.
Yeah, I speak a little bit of German, but yeah, nothing outside of English and French, really.
I see. That's great. That's wonderful. A lot of Americans, we go to the public schools and take language classes, and then a few years out in the real world, it's all lost.
Yeah.
And many of our countrymen have never left. They don't know what the best parts of America are.
Yeah, there were, lots of people I've spent most of my life in New Hampshire. Of course, I've traveled outside. I've traveled around the United States, and of course, internationally too. But, New Hampshire really, I took it for granted for a while living here, but it is actually, it's a really nice place. I definitely want to maintain my residence here, my home. I don't think I'll be leaving anytime soon.
You're gonna carry on the family
it really
home.
is just a beautiful place. I can be in the mountains in about an hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Not that bad.
That's
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, go to the seacoast and shit.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, I miss it.
And then
That
of
is
course
the
there's
one.
Boston, which
Oh, yes.
as much of a statist hellhole as it might be, it's not half bad. So.
Yeah, Boston is not bad. Boston is not bad. New England's pretty fun. Don't mind it. If you could live anywhere in the United States, but you couldn't live in New Hampshire, where would you live?
I live probably in Maine. Probably in Maine. I would stick in New England. That's for sure.
Stick in New England. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably northern New England. Like I'd stick to Vermont, maybe. I mean, Vermont's got great fucking gun laws, but taxes there are just out of control. So.
I see. That's unfortunate.
Yep.
You said you chat about anything, right?
What was that?
You said you chat about anything, right? Yeah, I don't think Danny can see this, but talk to him before. What's happening? Hey, don't spam commands!
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro! I've talked to you before.
What is this shit, Deffy?
This is the TDCS headset called Focus Yeti.
Yeah, I've heard of this. You introduced me to this idea. Is Caleb gonna put it on now?
Is he? I don't know. You tell me.
I mean, if Caleb puts it on, I'm definitely tuning in. I'm grabbing my iPad so I can watch. Don't fry your brains.
Okay, don't ever consider frying your brain. It doesn't fry your brain. It just provides provides an electrical current through your frontal lobes, and then it basically excites your brain to the point where you have increased focus.
I'm good.
You're good. What? I do it all the time. You see, I'm okay. I'm not brain dead.
I'm good. I'm not gonna put any fucking electrodes or shit on my.
Come on, bro.
No, this is some fucked up shit.
There's science behind it. There is. You can read articles about it.
Good for you. good for science. All I can say.
I tried chat. Just for content purposes.
My brain was fried years ago. There you go, jazz time music. Caleb, don't be a pussy. All right, yeah. No, too bad. Too bad. Yeah. I guess I'm a pussy then. Jazz time music. Question here: what turns you from a defensive AR? Oh yeah, there you go. Nice. Wow. Friends of Scouting 2001. Did you ever go to any jamborees?
No, I did not. Unfortunately.
I had the opportunity back in 2007 to go to the Canadian Jamboree, and of course 2007 was the 100th year of Scouting. That was a great Canadian Jamboree.
Must have been quite a trip.
Nice Pokemon badge. Wow, you get some great trolls in the chat.
I do. I mean, there are some really good trolls. There are some like really clever trolls out there, and I respect those individuals. The basic ones, I'm not too
Boy
fond of.
Scouts meant something before the child rapist that infiltrated troops got the official okay. HK, there you go. Good manufacturer.
Yes, sir. I got this one too. Let's talk American manufacturing of arms.
For handguns, which makes do you prefer?
If I had to choose one and put my life on it, I would take these guys. And I know there's glare. It's tough to make out. But there you have it. It's like between Wilson Combat and some other top tier brands of this country. There's some excellent arms manufacturers here.
Yeah. No, I've heard.
Fake
Wilson
HK, you can't afford it. Indeed. I can't afford
is-
HK. You're right. I'm a poor man. Please leave me alone. Don't come looking for me. I have nothing to offer you.
I personally, for handguns, I like SIGs. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
bit biased because, of course, SIG has their factory in New Hampshire, but
Oh yeah, Exeter.
they do make very, very nice handguns. so.
Exeter, yes, indeed. I keep a pocket SIG. I've got the P938 SAS. It's a two-tone,
Yeah.
wooden grips, very beautiful looking gun. I'm a big fan of the 1911. It's just design.
I fucking war guns, man. You know, like if I was to own a 1911, I would have to like own a nice one, like a Kimber or something.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't own like a fucking, it's better, in my mind, it's better throwing the fucking thing at the side of a barn. You're probably more likely to hit the side of the barn by throwing the gun than by shooting it.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I'm all with you there. So like Wilson Combat, for instance, they make very, very good
Precision. They make, I take it they make precision 45s, precision 1911.
weapons. Ooh. Everything they do.
Yeah.
Super tight.
Yeah.
Super tight. What do you keep at home?
Match grade. What do I keep? I have a SIG P250. It's 9mm. It's nice. It's a tight gun. Smooth operator. It's I guess it's a little bit maybe light for my tastes. But it's got enough weight to it that it's not like a bitch to shoot. It's not like a mule in your hand, but
Yeah.
No.
Nothing else? You don't keep any long guns?
I hardly ever carry it either. I just don't have a lot of need to carry. What the fuck is this? Oh, a secondary cam. Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, I was just showing the cam.
No long guns? Surely long guns.
Yeah, I own some long guns. I like older long guns though. I have a Mosin Nagant, of course.
Oh yeah.
One of the best fund to dollar ratio guns out there.
Oh yeah.
7.62 by 54 rimmed is just always cheap ammo. I've got a couple of 22 boys rifles and shit just from years ago. One of them, was given to me by my dad, and I also have a K31 that's in 6.5, not 7.5. So that ammo for that is a little bit harder to get because 6.5 Swiss is not a common round. But then I have a Krag Jorgensen. I like my bolt actions, as you can see. But
Correct something, by the way.
oh, nice. Donate dollars or crypto to Caleb's re-election. You can donate FRNs if you would like. I prefer not to take FRNs. In fact, Clarence, who is Deffy's significant other, well, Clarence actually donated to me in a combination of silver and crypto several months back, and the value of the crypto that he donated that several months ago has massively increased.
Hey!
So
Yeah, boy.
So I have to thank Clarence quite a bit for that.
Sorry.
Oh wow, I hurt your little chink feelings.
I'm sorry, I had to sob for the camera.
You set my heart on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I love America, man. I just love America. That we can sit here having a conversation. How do you know Deffy, by the way? How did this happen?
How do I know Deffy?
Yes.
We're both friends from like this club that we all hang out at over on the other side of the river here in Manchester.
Yep.
Oh. A good group of people, I imagine.
On Cupid named Alex, and then he brought me there, and then ever since then I've just met people who are from there.
Yeah, Alex is very cool too. He. Do you want to talk to a guy about guns, Alex?
Alex.
Yeah,
Alex.
That's Alex. Yeah.
We were born to make history.
We were born to make history. You guys are going off some like deep end of something or another. I don't know what you're talking about. I do and I don't. Everyone report me.
Poor Chica. Wow.
I mean, there can only be so many wealthy ones. I'm okay to represent myself as a poor man. I don't need people to think I'm wealthy. In fact, the less wealth they think I have, the better off I am.
Yep, absolutely. You don't want the IRS knowing a damn thing about how much money you got. No. Keep it all in fucking crypto. That's what I'd do.
Well, the thing is, when we're taking from the markets and actually engaging in above-board activity, we should absolutely pay our taxes. But there are loopholes. They exist. It's only rational to take advantage of them.
If you have a lot of money and you know how, or if you can hire a tax attorney, fucking go for it. If you can hire an accountant who really fucking hates the government, absolutely. Go the legitimate route. But if you just want to evade, which, I honestly, I have no interest in dealing with the United States federal government. I have a very limited interest in dealing with the New Hampshire government. I don't want to pay any tax I don't have to, and I will keep all my money out of their currency if they're going to try to tax it. So.
Now, I would be really sad if they took away the libraries. Although there seem to be places where young people go and or not young necessarily, just people go and check Facebook more often than not now.
Yeah, I think that funding libraries is something that can pretty easily be done privately. In fact, New Hampshire actually has quite a few private libraries and private institutions where you can just kind of go and check out books and whatnot.
That's good.
Of course, it's more common to have a public library, but there are towns up north where they're all donation based. There is no tax money that's going to the library. So there are other ways of doing even those kind of things, and I think that those are arguably the most legitimate services that governments provide. Public libraries and those sorts.
What about moving instead over to ebooks? Electronic lending solutions.
I mean, I'm glad that more libraries now than ever are, allowing for ebooks to be rented, so to speak, or bought or purchased or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, again, Amazon and a bunch of other online retailers are sort of doing away with the concept of the library. They're making it more and more attractive to just have that library on a website, where instead of just renting the book, instead of just borrowing the book, you can just go buy it for a very small, very minimal price.
Mm-hmm. And always look to buy used. Let's cut down on waste in society, please.
Number to my local
Yeah.
arms dealer.
I don't think Google heard you, Pixel Protocol. But unfortunately, though, local arms dealers around here, I mean, there would be quite a few, so the Google would have to pick from a number.
Yeah, empty the cup. Now it's $0 in donations. We can fill it up right now if you want. Everyone have $100 to spend. Spend it right now. PayPal.me/Deffy. Just saying.
Caleb,
And if you send me a donation, unfortunately, I have to fucking report it to the state of New Hampshire. So, do it through my fucking website.
good idea.
Don't just send it to my PayPal. I'm not gonna plug my PayPal because then you idiots will just fucking send it to the PayPal and not give me any of your contact info. I can't be like Deffy here. Deffy can just take your money. I actually have to be responsible if I take your money.
Caleb, you have a personal website aside from the campaign website, is that correct?
No, that campaign website, that I basically, when I ran for office, I just used the URL that I had for my own personal shit and just stuck everything on there. So that is my personal site as well.
I see. Does this show your graphic design work as well?
What was that? Oh no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't show any of that. I took all that off of there when I used to have a portfolio up on that, and then I just changed the whole layout of the site. So
I see.
yeah.
Yes, Jazz, I hear we can play a game of Quiplash or Jackbox Party Pack game if we had someone chat who were interested, which we seem to have. We might do that if unless the conversation has more depth to it. I don't know. If you want, Eddie, either if you want to join us, or you want to go your way, or you want to keep this conversation going.
I just want to talk very briefly about the fact that I am still continuing work on this article. I'll seek to publish it soon. It's a solution to end mass shootings in America, because this is a problem that's gone on for too long, and there are constitutional ways to take care of it. Things that both parties can agree upon.
I don't know about that. Don't know about that.
I'll give you an advanced look. I'll give you an advanced look, Caleb, and I would certainly welcome your feedback upon it.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine by me. I read quite a bit, so I would be more than happy to read your article and edit it for you. I am a grammar Nazi, just in advance. I will pick the ever living shit apart of your article. So
Great, thank you. I'm not so good with the M dash. I use the M dash, the colon, and semicolon, and I'm not too sure about those. But commas and periods aplenty, and I'll make sure to break things down nice and clean.
Nice.
Now, is there a way that I should get a hold of you outside of your public messaging boxes? I don't want it to get lost in the riffraff.
Add me on Facebook. Doesn't matter to me, man.
Understood. I'll look for you on Facebook then. Or if you have, you said text. If you could have Deffy, if you could send me a PM with Caleb's number, then I'll be sure to put that into my phone.
Again, all of that shit is on my website.
Oh, wait,
the
this
number
is
that I list on my website
is your personal
actually my personal number.
personal phone number. That's excellent.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
no,
Okay, in that case, I'll
I've
just
had
look.
a number of constituents call that number thinking they were gonna get like an office, and then I answered it, and I was like, yeah, no, I just put my personal shit out there.
603?
Yep, 603 417 0897.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, wow. I just said my phone number on a stream.
It's okay. I hope you get a lot of
shit's
love,
like-
because as far as I'm concerned, you've been saying nothing but the truth. You know, you've been talking from your experience, sharing your opinion, and
Yeah, I mean,
that's good.
It's an opinion. Truth,
It's so high.
you know,
Phone number you're at least. I'm sorry.
I mean, not necessarily truth with a capital T here, but at least your truth. Is that fair?
yeah. I mean, like, I've been down certain roads, and I've heard certain arguments. I've entertained them, and I find them wanting. Some I've been very much persuaded by. So I'm very much a reason and evidence-based kind of guy. If I had, any reason to believe that the shit that, I think is, I guess, quote unquote, right, was wrong, I would not believe it. So, but,
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I wasn't expecting to have this conversation with you today, but I'm most appreciative of your time. Deffy, thank you too for inviting me to come over here.
Come over, and I'm glad you guys met, and I'm glad you guys are both going to be in Houston sometime soon, so that'd be kind of neat for both of you.
Yeah,
yeah, sweet.
Everyone else too.
most definitely look forward to meeting you in person, Caleb.
How many roads must a man walk down?
Wait, what? Oh, Clarence. Oh, Clarence.
Check out Caleb's website and his wiki. Besides that, we'll be streaming as well on YouTube, youtube.com/Deffy Urz, DFFYURZ. We're going to play some Quiplash or other games in a sec, assuming he has time to stay.
Yeah.
And we have to go until like 9:30.
It is 6:10 now. Yeah, I got plenty of time. I actually, I have to pick up my girlfriend down a couple blocks from work after I leave here. So.
Okay, cool. So we'll be over there, youtube.com/Deffy Urz, and enjoy the rest of your night, Yeti, and the rest of your chat too. It was fun.
Yeah. Guys, it's been a blast. Thank you again so much.
Absolutely.
Hey, dude.
All right.
See you.
Till next time.
Yeah. Later.
That was wonderful. I'm so grateful I had the opportunity to speak that night. He's young. He's young but a public figure. He's in an office. It's wonderful. Now, I'm just looking at chat.